Hello, my name is Julksy and today I'm going to show you how to re-stick the main flexi ribbon onto the motherboard of an iPod Touch. Now this is a procedure that really only iPod can do, but there seems to be a product on the market called 3M9703, which is conductive double-sided tape. Now what this does is it actually transmits the power through the tape, but only across. It doesn't actually go down the tape itself, so this tape is actually used to stick these flexi ribbons to the boards. Okay, so we'll start with just by saying this is a 32 gig iPod Touch, so it's obviously worth repairing. This is the actual ribbon that we're going to be taking off and replacing with ribbons that you can buy on eBay. Now if I hold it up to the camera, you can see that the ribbon itself is glued along here. This is where the pins are. Now from there to there is where the contacts of the pins are. From here is glued to the board, but there's these little via holes aren't actually connecting at all. It's just basically for extra strain relief for this side of the connector. Now what I've done just to show you is the way that this ribbon is lined up with these pins. If you look carefully, let me just zoom in a bit for you. Now, if you look carefully here, if you can see there's a little dot in the middle of these two corners. See it? A little corner black there and a little corner black there, and there's like a little sort of orange dot. Well, on this end of the ribbon, you see there's the two little corners there. I've actually slightly peeled the ribbon off so that you can see, like when I put the ribbon down, you see the dot appears in the middle of them? I lift it up, look. Okay. So that's basically that one there, and that one there is how you line up the ribbon so that all these little tracks line up with the pads. Okay? They're called fiducial marks, and they basically assist alignment of ribbons. Possibly when the board's being pick and placed, it will use those as fiducial marks as well to know where all the components are going to go. Right, so first things first, we've got to get this ribbon off. Now, the easiest way to do that is to apply a little bit of heat. Now, we don't actually want to mount the ribbon itself, we just want to apply heat to this area to make the adhesive that iPod have used, Apple. We want to loosen that so we can peel the ribbon off with as little damage as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a soldering iron, and with the tip of the soldering iron I'm just going to run it along the edge there just to warm it up. Now I'm not looking to solder anything, I'm literally just transferring the heat to warm up the pads. Okay, once you've done that, it should be okay to peel off. So obviously very carefully peel it off slowly. Take your time, you don't want to wreck anything, you don't want to damage the board. As you can imagine, a 32 gig iPod Touch is very expensive. Alright, we seem to have ripped the ribbon here. This will happen when you're removing them, it's just it's one of those things. Let's try and peel it from the other way. Okay, here he goes. Just peel that off gently. Okay, looks like we got most of it off. Right, as you can see, it actually looks like I've removed the tracks, but I haven't. What that is, that's actually pieces of the ribbon left on the little gold pads themselves. So now I'm going to have to remove those. Let's just go in a bit closer. Okay, right, now how I'm going to do this is I'm going to get some isopropanol alcohol, or rubbing alcohol if you're in America, and I'm going to rub the whole lot like that. Okay. Then, very, very carefully, with a blade, I'm just gonna take the edge of this off. Can you see it's slowly coming good? You have to be very, very careful. Just ever so slowly peeling it off. You've got to take your time with this, because obviously if you mess it up, you've lost an iPod. And believe me, iPod Touch 32 gig, not worth losing. So, give it a quick rub with the isoprope again. What the isoprope does, it actually loosens the adhesive that was already on there. Makes it easier for you to get it off. Okay, let's have another go. Okay, a bit more ISO. Okay, I've just had a look at the board, and we obviously need to do a little bit more cleaning. So I'm just going to keep working on this. Being ever so very careful. You don't have to apply any pressure at all. You're just using the sharp blade to just take the very surface off. You'll actually see the pads coming gold, whereas they were dull before, and the reason why they were dull is because they had a very small layer of the old adhesive left on there that 3M had used. Obviously these things are that delicate, if you go too hard you'll take one of the little gold tracks off and then you scrapped your iPod. So take small layers off at a time, don't try and take too much off in one go. It's better for you to sit here and do this for minutes than it is to go at it like a bull in a china shop and end up with a scrap iPod. So that's looking pretty good so far. I'll give it one more wipe with the isoprope and then bring it up to the camera so you can have a look. There. Nice and clean. Get off any old residue. Right. Now if I hold that up to the camera, you should be able to see nothing left on those pads. Alright? Okay. Now we've got to think about lining him up and sticking the other one back on. Now as I said before, what we're going to do is we're going to stick this replacement ribbon on. Okay? Like I said, you can buy them off eBay. They're quite cheap. but they don't come with any glue attached to this to reattach it back to the board, which can be a bit of a pain. But I've managed to find one person on eBay that is actually selling the tape. Now this guy has actually had to buy a whole roll, which can be very, very expensive, and what he's doing is what he's got left on the roll he's selling in strips, and he actually sells you enough to do more than one of these, but obviously you might mess a few of the goes up, so if you mess a few of the goes up he's giving you extra anyway to do it. So you will find a link to the person that's selling the adhesive to glue this on. You'll find a link here. Okay, so you want to go to that link and you will actually get strips of adhesive like this. Okay, and what you have to do with this is, again, it transmits the power through that way. So we put the tape on the board like that, and then when you stick the ribbon onto the top, the power goes straight through. Okay, so what we've got to do is we've got to measure a bit of tape. Okay, and that should be enough for there, which it is. And then what we're going to do is we're going to peel this off carefully. Try not to put any bubbles in the tape. Now you can't actually see the tape that's on there, it's that thin. And what we're going to do is we're going to adhere it to the board. And I'm going to put it there. Like that, and then push it nice and tight to the board. Okay, you can even get a screwdriver and just apply pressure that way to make it stick to the board. Okay, that should be pretty stuck. Then what I'm going to do is get the corner and just flick the corner up. What you'll find is it's left the tape on the board like that. Then what we're going to do is cut another strip, and the other strip is just going to be used as like a strain relief, and that's just to stick the back half of the connector on of the ribbon. So that'll go there. Okay, and peel that off. Like that. You can actually use double-sided sticky tape, but I haven't got any, so I'm reusing this stuff. It's perfectly okay to use. Right, now we have our replacement ribbon. First things I'm going to do is I'm going to, with the isoprobe, I'm just going to give this area a bit of a wipe. Okay, just to get any contamination off. Make sure it's nice and clean. Alright, that's cleaned that. And then I'm now going to stick it to the board. Now, when you stick it to the board, you need to line up that dot, little gold dot there, and the other dot there, in these little fiducial marks on the ribbon. Now I'm going to zoom in, and I'll do it when we're up close. Okay, that should be good enough. Right, now can you see I've got that hole lined up? Look, it's in the middle there. And that one, both lined up pretty good. Hold it down, put the ribbon on. Now just make sure before you go moving it too much that's on, and apply some pressure. Okay, keep putting my head in the way. Right. This is a tool that you'd use to split the iPod. Just because it's plastic, all I'm going to do is push really hard on those connections. Okay, let's just move that out of the way a minute. Try and get some real pressure on there. Okay, that's looking good. Alright, that looks good. There you have it. One ribbon freshly attached. And what I'll do is I'll bring it up to the camera so you can have a look. As you can see there, in the middle of that hole there, those two little fiducial marks is the dot, and the same with that one. See the little dot smack on in the middle? Another good identification to see where it's lined up is that hole lines up there, look. Okay, and then that's got a little crescent shape taken out of it which lines up with that hole. But basically that fiducial mark there and that fiducial mark there is lined up. So now we can guarantee that all of these little pins are all lined up too. Okay, that's one done. Thank you for watching. My name is Jilksy, and remember that link if you want to get hold of some of this stuff. Magic tape, we'll call it. M3 magic tape 9703. Thank you.